Welcome to Tech Review. This is the HP Omen 15. This configuration has the brand new Ryzen 7 chip, a 15.6-inch full HD display with 144Hz refresh rate and 300 nits of brightness, as well as 16 GB of RAM and dual channel. For the rest of the specs, we have a GTX 1660 Ti, a 6-cell 71 Wh battery, Wi-Fi 6, and Bluetooth 5. The HP Omen 15 is this year's refresh of a very popular gaming laptop in recent memory. This year, it hasn't just been a basic refresh, they've completely changed up the Omen. This year's iteration comes with many updates, including a more modern aesthetic. Combine that with HP offering both AMD and Intel configurations, they might have a winner on their hands. Let's check out the design. The HP Omen is very sleek and modern. It's a gaming laptop that has gone under a significant redesign, as it looks professional and won't raise any eyebrows in the novice. The dark silver, black aluminum keyboard deck is subdued and clean. The mica silver lid with its matte finish looks really nice. Even the new Omen logo looks classy and changes colors in the light. It's not a gaudy design, which is incredibly welcome. Let's address the screen flex and get it out of the way. So when you apply pressure, because both the chassis and the panel are plastic, there's a lot of flex in the lid. It's not as big of an issue as I thought it'd be. The only time I'd be cautious would be transporting it in a backpack, but regardless of the laptop, I'd also be incredibly careful carrying $1,000+ in a backpack anyway. I think it's a little overblown, but it's still a cause for concern. The screen flex here, while slightly more pronounced than other screens, it's something I also think that is fairly overblown. There's no worries here. My biggest gripe about the design is actually just how sharp the corners are. I'm surprised I have such an issue with it, honestly. It's not just the corners of the laptop, but also the front and lip below the touchpad. While I'm typing, I notice my wrists and forearms start hurting if I apply too much pressure. The entire metal bottom of the laptop is this sharp. If you think that this would be a pet peeve of yours, I don't know if this laptop is for you. So this year's Omen has thankfully updated their hinge design. It's now sleeker and less gaudy. Gone are past iterations, thankfully. They were loud and they had longevity concerns. These hinges are solidly built and aren't too loose or too tight. And as an extra bonus, even though I'm not quite sure the usage of it with a non-touch screen, you can lay the screen completely flat. The touchpad on this laptop is solidly built. It features Windows precision drivers. The touchpad feels great, but its feedback is worse than I would have hoped for. It just sounds shallow. You be the judge. Overall, the keyboard is good, but there are some caveats. The keys are more spaced out than I'm used to, which will quickly test your muscle memory going forward. The layout itself also takes getting used to, including the island-style arrow keys. The keys are all really quiet, which is great, but also slightly unsatisfying in feedback. I'm a number pad guy. The number pad shortcut key has nice intentions behind it, but I don't think I'll ever use it. This is how the keyboard sounds. Now, the Omen Command Center software does allow you to set the colors of the 4-zone RGB keyboard. Unfortunately, it's only limited to static colors. I was hoping for some animations here, but maybe they'll push it forward in a future update. The Omen's webcam is located at the top, which is not always a guarantee nowadays. It's a webcam, it does its job. The display on the Omen is your classic 300 nit, 144Hz IPS screen. It's buttery smooth. Comparing with others I've used, it's just as good with bright colors, great blacks, and overall strong performance. It's great for consuming media, browsing the internet, or playing games on. It's a great screen. Let's check out the I/O. Okay, so on the right side of the laptop, from left to right, we have the USB Type-C port with DisplayPort 1.4 technology, a mini DisplayPort, and 2 USB Type-A ports. Now let's look at the ports on the left side. We have the ports for charging, Ethernet, another USB Type-A, an HDMI 2.0, headphone mic combo jack, and a full-size SD card reader. While it doesn't have any ports in the back, it does have tons of exhaust vents, something that we will definitely be talking about later. Now, let's talk about the internals. The 2020 version of the HP Omen enjoys one of the best air vent designs of any gaming laptop on the market today. Kudos to HP for providing so much airflow through the bottom of the chassis. You would think providing more ventilation in gaming laptops would be commonplace, especially when you're just providing cutouts for air at no extra cost for the company, but I digress. Plenty of hot air will flow through these openings. Here's what we have under the hood. We have two NVMe SSD slots, one is populated, the other is free, both with supplied heatsinks. We have two RAM slots, both upgradable to 3200 MHz. We have a Wi-Fi 6 card upgradable if you need it. And finally, we have the 71 watt-hour battery. Using some settings magic, I comfortably got 6-7 hours, so pretty good, but could always be more. Let's see how the HP Omen performs. The Western Digital 1TB SSD that came with my version had pretty respectable values. Meanwhile, the SD card reader speeds were decent, most likely because they're connected to a USB 2.0 interface. A Cinebench R20 score of 4269 places it firmly ahead of Intel's offerings at similar prices, very consistent with its usual benchmark. The HP Omen Command Center is a decent piece of software. There's only really one tab you need to pay attention to. It gives you your temperatures, storage values, and utilization at the moment. One thing I did notice is that it took several seconds to load every single time I opened the program, not exactly the speed you'd want to just glance at your temperatures during a gaming session. With a network booster, you can choose how you allot your bandwidth for each program. Not bad. Also, another thing before I give the few benchmarks that I was actually able to get. Comfort mode. So normally this mode, often referred to as quiet or office mode on other gaming laptops, lowers both the TDP and the fans of the laptop. But for whatever reason, HP's version is only about temperatures, which sounds great in theory, but results in insanely loud fans for the worst performance of the three modes. I would only recommend gaming in default or performance mode, the former which levels off at around 48 to 50 decibels under load, which is pretty respectable. So, a quick but important caveat before we get to the performance. Sorry for spoilers, but this went from a happy purchase to a return very quickly. It turns out that this laptop, for whatever reason, has been stuck in a state of bootloop for almost the entire time that I've had it. After doing some digging, it's most likely a disagreement with the NVIDIA update and the HP update that has been breaking the machine. No matter how many times I reset, reformat it, when I activate the GPU for any task, more often than not, the screen will often go black and the laptop will be unresponsive until I turn it off. And it just keeps doing this. This isn't as widespread as an issue as I thought, which is great for the vast majority of users, but I've read several complaints of the same issue happening, and not just from Omen users. This has happened to other HP laptops such as Pavilion gaming laptops. So I wouldn't think this is the norm, but this is most likely the exception, just something you should know. So not only is it annoying, but I'm only able to give you guys a couple of benchmarks, so I apologize. For what it's worth, the gaming that I was able to do on the screen was a great experience. What's not great, the only footage I have of me using it is completely out of focus. Yikes. So I apologize in advance. I really wanted to give you guys a lot of benchmarks, but it just wasn't in the cards for me, unfortunately. Rocket League had great temperatures, but I must admit I was a little disappointed in only getting 78% of the frames per second that I got from the 2060 with the 7i. Control had a really great thermals and got me to around 50 frames per second. I have the comfort mode in red because the fans were maxed out and it was just tough to play with, so I would stick to default or performance mode. Unfortunately, that's all the benchmarks I was able to get. Overall, I wished I had a better experience with the laptop, but even with my troubles, I came up pretty impressed. The thermals will top tier value, even including laptops that cost twice the amount. I got this specific model on Best Buy during our recent sale for $1,049, a complete knockout of the sale. It's currently going for $1,249 at the moment, which I still think is a good deal. But that's all I got. Here's to hoping that I have better luck with my next laptop that I'm reviewing, the Electronics RP15. Thanks for your time, you guys. Stay safe.